Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode of my Seattle Sonics My League. Right here on NBA 2K19. In this episode, we go through the 2025-2026 season and what could prove to be a very memorable year. That said, before we get down to business, a couple of things I wanted to get to. First and foremost, as far as the roster is concerned and the G League send-downs, Jackie Nash and Sean McKinney again, just because I don't feel like he's going to get that much playing time. I signed this rando Chris Hunt to take McKinney's roster spot. But as it is, I just don't see how McKinney's going to make this lineup. He doesn't have that great a potential. So that is what it is. Also, I set up player mentorship, as was mentioned. Don't know if I'm focusing on the right players, but I do have Leftarius trying to teach Murray Hopkins a couple of things. Dario trying to help out AJ Marsh, McKinney, Cameron Black being paired up. Richie Davidson's learning from Arnold. McDaniels from Byron Wesley. And Julio Cato from Bohannon, which, you could argue who should be helping out who, but kind of limited options in terms of the high-end talent and some solid prospects, because our prospects are, of course, the ones leading the way for us, which brings us to what our lineup is going to be. And there are a couple of different options. I mean, right now, as it stands, Cato, Sparks, and Wesley are not currently getting any playing time. We are rolling with Davidson, our rookie, getting 10 minutes a night. Murray Hopkins down to 15. I have indeed made AJ Marsh the sixth man, so he'll be getting 24 minutes a night, and McDaniels at 19. And, of course, our starters, pretty straightforward. All but two of them, of course, Black and Dario, not getting the 36 minutes. A lot of different setups when it comes to the timing, who could play, who should be playing, how much are they playing. I mean, suggested for these two are 37 and 38. So I could go off of the computer-generated suggestions, but I think the suggestions are based off of bench utilization, if I'm not mistaken. Also for the offense, Arnold, Bohannon, Dourekas for the top three. We will change things up throughout the season as we need to. I suppose a lot of it really does depend on, of course, injuries and how everything factors in. But 92 team chemistry, by the way. Ridiculous. One more thing I wanted to mention, of course. There is some concerns over the current setup, especially when it comes to the salary, right? As it stands. We are actually just a little bit over the cap. And, yeah, it's gonna be a problem sooner rather than later. But I wanted it to be a problem this year, right? So here's the thing. As far as NBA and the salary cap, I'm sure I'm making some mistakes. However, I'm making mistakes for the sake of this team being able to go for it. Now, as far as getting rid of players, again, I'm not allowed to say trade Cameron Black and get back 2 first-round picks. But what I am allowed to do, if we find that we need to get rid of him to make room for a Bohannon or something like that, I am allowed to pair Cameron Black with our own second-round pick and exchange him for a second-round pick. So, for example, if I wanted to ditch him and I have to make sure I don't hit the wrong button, I mean, granted, he can't be traded until the 15th. But like I said, pair him with a second-round pick, doesn't matter, and then swap him, basically give him away for free to a team. So it's as if we lost him anyway, but it's kind of a way to counteract the salary cap for now. There's been debate in the past over whether or not that's the right way to do it. For this series, I'm pretty sure I asked you guys early on whether or not that shouldn't be allowed. Don't recall there being a rule against it, so that is how we're handling things. But needless to say, this team would not be as good if we weren't doing that. I mean, McDaniels would be a starter this year, which, not the worst starter to have, but yeah, Cameron Black would be gone. Not to mention, I mean, after this year, Dario might have to go to make room for AJ Marsh being the #1 guy. So this is kind of it. This is our big chance. Dourekas needs a contract after this. Bohannon needs a contract. I think this is our 1 year. With this team as it stands, this is our 1 season to try and make something happen. Because, yeah, I mean, money-wise, our team salary's at $142. Do we have the highest salary in the league? I'm going to guess that we do. Whew, it's close. Chicago at $139, $141 for the Clippers. So, as compared to Hartford at $78. So, I mean, we are, if not the top, $124 for New Orleans. Okay, so, and, well, yeah, Houston, I mean, granted, we're at $140, but we do have the highest salary in the league. So, we're gonna want to make some changes after this year, right? We'll see what happens. For now, let's get the season underway. Last year, we had our best year yet. What is in store for this year, this iteration, the best iteration of the Seattle Sonics we have seen in the series yet, as A.J. Marsh is immediately injured, and that sucks tremendously. That really sucks. Oh boy, how do I want to handle this? I mean, pretty much immediately, Hopkins will take back over at the 24 minutes, and we'll bump up Wesley. He'll get the 15 or so. So, congratulations to one Byron Wesley. You're going to be able to step up. Of course, again, Sparks and Cato will not be playing, but we do win our first game of the season against the Denver Nuggets, 124-98. We end up losing our second game of the year to the Timberwolves. Oh, boy, howdy. Left hand fracture for Cameron Black. He is out for a month at the very least. And already we are struggling here. So I talked about the fact that McDaniels would be the starter. Fun fact, he's going to be now. We pretty much have no choice in that regard. So that is a brutal, brutal loss. That is going to result in Sparks getting a little bit more playing time. I don't think I'm going to outright give him the 19 minutes. I'm going to bump up Davidson to like 20 minutes a game, and we'll bump Sparks up to like 9. So that might result... Actually, that's going to be tough. Sparks is going to have to play a little bit more than that. Although Davidson, if I'm not mistaken... Nope, we had him at point guard. Yeah, no, Sparks is going to have to play a little bit more than that, isn't he? That's pretty rough. I'm tempted to just let the AI... You know what, I'm just going to... I'll leave it as is. If we start to lose, I'm going to let the AI take control. We did beat Golden State in that game, though. Next game up is against Portland. We win that as well. The LA Clippers. Oh, my God. The injuries right now. Jesus. We won that game as well, but this is horrific. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope. Nope. 9. Cool. Have it rebuild. Let's go 9. Okay, cool. Let me just make sure that there's, not anybody in here that's not supposed to be. Okay, so good. Hunt's not playing. And we'll leave it like that as far as not having the bench play all that much. It's going to be Arnold, Bohannon, Sparks, Golob, Dourekas. Hopkins going to get 29 minutes a night. Probably because Dario will play sometime at forward, I would think. You have Wesley, Davidson, and then Cato. So, 3 injuries thus far. I don't think we're going to bump up the amount of time the bench gets. One could argue bumping it down, but we still have Arnold playing, 36 minutes a night, Bohannon at 37, so of course that's kind of our target area. Let's keep moving on. Who's next? Who's going to step in front of the firing squad next? As we lose to the Celtics by 2, we rebound with a win against Dallas. Oh my, I thought it was another injury. It's A.J. Marsh being back. Thank God. The question, though, Dario is dead tired. The question, though, over whether or not I want to bump up... I might bump up the bench. I'm going to bump it up to 10. We will reassign. And Dario's dead tired, but that way Hunt's not in. Cato, Davidson, they'll still be getting some playing time. You could argue that Arnold should be getting a few more minutes, but I think we'll be okay on that front. We ended up losing to the Pacers. We beat the Jazz, though, to get back up to 6-3. McDaniels is also back. So we're going to want to fix that. Everyone is dead tired. So if we auto-assign here, it is Cato. Cato's the one who ends up, Cato's the one who ends up being out of the lineup, which is fine. Again, I'm almost tempted to try and get him a little bit of playing time, but I know it's not really necessary, right? So he's there for depth. We'll treat it as such. We end up beating Memphis, but losing McDaniels to injury again. So that's great. Congratulations to Cato on getting back into the lineup. And this is perhaps the one thing that could completely derail our season, although we are still winning games. We end up beating the 76ers, the Jazz in a rematch. Playing the Timberwolves on the weekend, we get another win. That's 5 in a row as McDaniels is back, and here's hoping he can actually stay at 100%. As we'll take a look. So again, it is Cato who ends up being out of the lineup, but that's fine. Of course, there was the argument between 9 or 10 people for the bench. We are, of course, going with 10 at the moment. If we were to go with a 9-man bench, who would be on the way out? It would be Davidson, which Obviously, I don't like, and I'd probably rather switch him out with Sparks, but I can't do that right now because of Cameron Black's injury. So I'm going to bump that back up to 10. We'll handle it that way. Although I do want to look here. Let's actually go back to the roster. Let's take a look at... Nope, not quick edit. Not quick edit. I forget. It's not tendency view either. I guess... Oh, did it freeze? I thought it froze for a second. Let's just look at Bohannon. I want to see how he's doing this year. So, we're looking for... What are we looking for? Not necessarily recent games. Yeah, I guess career stats per advance. There we go. So, I mean, his efficiency rating has gone up, which is nice. And then, obviously, just in general, the efficiency rating's up. True shooting percentage of a 623. So, I mean, Bohannon right now is performing at such a high level compared to what he was. I also want to look at Arnold. Now, he's doing this year. His numbers have also gone up drastically. And how's Dourekas doing? Because there was a fair point that obviously centers will be a little bit more efficient. They're going to see less of the ball. The good thing is, though, he's still outperforming even what he did last year. So that is tremendous. Our big three there. Let's see if we can get through the month of November without another injury, shall we? We do lose to the Knicks by 5, which is always disappointing. Lose to Houston as well. And Cameron Black is back. Thank God. Wow, that really dropped Arnold's playing time, which I don't like. I don't like at all. Davidson's doing well. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to drop that down. And then... So Wesley and Cato won't be playing. I'm going to take Sparks out and give his 9 minutes to Davidson. And then, of course, Marsh, I want to swap him out. Now, Hopkins is playing really well. But obviously there is a point that A.J. Marsh should be getting that little bit of extra playing time. And I tend to agree with it. So I'm going to make him... yet again, our 6th man. So again, Black getting 33 minutes. I'm going to do that little switch right there. Dario only getting 28. So Marsh, man, Marsh and Dario are pretty much interchangeable right now, and I don't really know if I agree with that. So I'm gonna drop that ever so slightly and bump up those minutes a little bit. I think that works, because obviously I want to stick with the big 5 that we have up top. So again, Davidson... not going to be getting a ton of time. I want to drop Marsh down to, say, 20. Put him there. Bump him up by 1. Maybe go with that setup. I don't know. It's kind of a tough call. But to be honest, probably not going to matter because we're going to have to deal with another injury soon, I'm quite sure. As we snap that 2-game losing streak. Can you even call it a streak if it's only 2 games? We beat Detroit. As Dourekas is going to go down to a minor injury. All the more reason as to why I'm just going to stick to the AI setting up the lineup, because otherwise it gets to be a massive pain. But I think I will, in this instance, bump it up to a 10-man bench just to make sure that we have Davidson getting some playing time. I feel like that's fair. At least 9 minutes, right? So Cato I'm not worried about. Obviously I could readjust, but a 10-man bench isn't that bad. So right now, Cameron Black is actually going to be the 6th man, which is shocking. It's Arnold, Bohannon, McDaniels, Dario, and Murray Hopkins starting at center. It's nice to have a center of that caliber good to go. I don't even know if he'll get a start before we play Chicago, and he did not. So not all that surprising. If we stick with a 10-man bench, technically Davidson's not playing, which is fine. So I think we'll go back down to a 9. Of course, I want to make sure Davidson's playing as much as I can, but at the end of the day, I'm going to trust the AI to be able to set this up. And again, Cameron Black is in as the 6th man because of how well Jesse McDaniels is playing. And obviously, paying that much to our 6th man is not a good call, but like I said, I want to keep this team together as much as I can. As McDaniels goes down to injury, so because of that, back up to a 10-man bench. And we'll see what we are dealing with. Congratulations to Davidson for getting a little bit of time. So I think if we're fully healthy, 9-man bench. If we have an injury, 10-man. We'll handle it that way. We are on another 5-game winning streak that comes to an end against the Sharks, but 16-6 now on the season after beating Portland. Make it 17 after beating Toronto and 18 after beating Detroit. Decent little run here. Look at this. Nothing to worry about. Shocking. Shocking. Looking for a 20th win of the year. We cannot get it against Atlanta, but we do get it against Memphis. So 20-7, now 20-8 on the year. as McDaniels is back again. His injury history is starting to get just a tad bit concerning, I would say. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. I do want to take a look around the league, as we are the top team in the Northwest Division by 3.5 games over Minnesota. We still have a long way to go. 8-1 in our division, 15-3 in our conference. Not too bad. Not too bad. Averaging 112 points a game. Where are we in the grand scheme of things? Okay, Phoenix is the top team in the West. We are currently 2 games back. So right now, we would have the top record in the East if we were in the East. It's not too bad. You gotta remember, too, Phoenix sucked at the beginning of this, too, so you can see the turnaround. But averaging 112 points, we have the league's best offense. Points against at a 102. Certainly not the league's best defense, but we do have the league's most potent offense right now, which you would expect, I would say, with the talent that we have on this team, but maybe the injuries could have put that into just a little bit of doubt. So we end up beating Cleveland, going into win-loss territory here for the last week or so. Bohannon is going to be day-to-day. That's a little bit rough. Again, bump up the bench depth. So Davidson's actually going to be starting. That's a huge, huge step up for him. But it makes sense given the lack of depth that we have in terms of guards. Although, that said, Cato, congratulations. We're going to give you a little bit more playing time. That makes just a little bit more sense than having Wesley there. So we'll see what happens. We only have 2 games over the next week. We've lost 4 out of our last 6 games, so hopefully we can get back to our winning ways. We do by absolutely destroying Miami. And Irvin Bohannon is back. So back down to a 9-man bench. Playing time is not too bad. I mean, again, as far as what we have here, lineup performance factor, I dropped that a little bit just to try and make sure that the best players were getting in the lineup. But you know what? At this point, I want to see the best players in. Young versus old doesn't matter. Proficiency doesn't really matter. If someone's playing well, I got to be honest, if someone's playing well, I want them in the lineup. 100 might be a little bit obnoxious. Like, that might be a little bit over the top. But for me, if someone's playing well, let them play. That's my argument. So we'll see how that works out for us. A little bit of a different approach here as we play the Seals tonight and get a win 109-94. Merry Christmas to all. So we approach the new year. We play Hartford on the 31st. And we'll see what happens. Can we hit 24 wins on the year? I'd like to think we could with how low their budget was. And indeed we do. 138-95. 24-10 on the season. Arnold picks up a minor injury. So bench depth will go up to 10. And technically he might play against Washington, which really scares me, but I'm all right with upping the bench depth just to make sure. We end up winning there 122-108. And it's a relatively big game against the Phoenix Suns, which really, when's the last time anyone said, boy, this is the big game against the Suns? And they killed us too. Not since the days of Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire, has that been said. But there you go. They end up getting a decent enough victory. Darrell Arnold being hurt certainly did not help our cause. Not at all. Well, Davidson has still gotten some playing time, which is nice. So right now, at 25-12, we are still atop the Northwest Division. It's us in Minnesota right now. Utah, Portland, they're a little bit further back. And then Oklahoma City just sucks. God, they're terrible. As far as the conference is concerned, still in third, a game back of the Suns, 3.5 back of San Antonio. Currently second in the power rankings, though. Just behind the Spurs, 10-4 over the last month, and 4-0 in the past 2 weeks. So not too bad. Mark Spears has us there too. I was going to say, Mark, come on. Give us something here. Let's see what happens. We end up playing, or not, before Darrell Arnold is back. So again, quick little adjustments. We'll see what happens there. A little bit worried, of course, that Davidson's not in, but what are you going to do? We'll go with the 9-man bench. We should be okay, regardless, though. Continuing onward. Next game here against the Vegas Aces on the weekend. Before continuing this homestand. Actually, it's a really strong homestand here. As Darrell Arnold goes down again to another minor injury. We'll bump up the bench depth in case he's not 100% for this game against the Sound. And Richie Davidson goes down to injury. He's out for a week or two. That's a little bit rough. So, Cato, I mean, granted, we're on a 10-man bench, so I'm not too concerned. But actually, I'm going to take Wesley's minutes away, give them to Cato, and we'll see if that sticks. We might have some lineup changes before this game against St. Louis, and indeed, we do. So back down to 9. Now that Durrell is good to go. And again, I think we're okay. Maybe. Got Sparks there. Yeah, we should be okay. I mean, pretty much Arnold and Bohannon, like one of the two are on the court at all times. Leftarius, Dourekas, the lefty, down for a week or two. That is another fairly big injury. I mean, we do have the depth there more so at power forward and center. Obviously, Murray Hopkins steps in. We still have A.J. Marsh, who's going to be the beneficiary in getting some playing time. And I can't help but think, well, actually, yeah, we need to make sure that Marsh and Wesley are both getting some playing time. That'll be the way to do it. Technically, you know, I'm going to take Davidson out of the lineup and replace him with Cato until Davidson's 100%. So we'll see what happens there. Will he be 100% before this game against the Pacers? He will not be. We walk away with a 119-87 victory for our 27th win of the season. Cannot beat Portland. Just a bit of a rough loss. But we still have a chance here before we start getting into all-star territory, unless we go on a massive slide of hitting 30 wins. We absolutely destroy Oklahoma City. We beat Vegas as well. Can we get our 30th win of the year against Chicago? Yes, we can. And Dourekas is back from injury. So again, we'll bump down the bench depth and be pretty much good to go. Sparks isn't playing all that well. Davidson's still not 100%, although he's getting there. Gonna be honest, I'm gonna take Sparks out of the lineup, and Cato is playing well. So congratulations to him, as he will presumably at least get some playing time here against Milwaukee and LA. Davidson, sorry, you're still gonna sit for these two games. We end up beating the Bucks by 3 and beating the Clippers as well, but oh god, the injuries this season. Dourekas out for 2 to 4 months. And I feel like I jinxed it at the start of the episode by saying that the only way this really goes poorly for us is due to injury, and here we go. Murray Hopkins, the pressure is on, buddy. The pressure is on. Now, you're playing very well this year, and that is to be expected, but that is a devastating injury for us. Absolutely devastating. I want to see if I play Cato, how much the minutes go down. A bit too much for Arnold and Bohannon, so sorry to Cato. You've been playing well lately, although it dipped a little bit, so he will not be in. And if I drop it to 9, what are we dealing with? So McDaniels, Marsh, Sparks, Davidson. I'm gonna be honest here. I think I want to take out Sparks because we have McDaniels. I'm going to take Sparks out and bump up Wesley's minutes. Otherwise, I got to run with the 10-man bench, and I'm not really digging that. So, yeah, Sparks and Cato are going to be sitting. Although Edmund Sparks is finally taking a step forward, but other than that, I run a 10-man bench, and we have Arnold, Bohannon. I mean, I know I can adjust it, but maybe we do go with a 10-man bench, actually. Let me take a look. So, I mean, technically that just means, again, that Cato will be out. If I go up to an 11-man bench, what are we dealing with? How can we drop this? I mean, Cato would be getting 6 minutes a night. Could drop that to 5, drop Wesley down a little bit. Technically, drop Sparks back down a little bit as well. And let's see, so bump these two back up to 36. And I think that should work. I'd like to think. So McDaniels will still get 20. Marsh will get plenty of playing time. Sparks, Davidson, Wesley, and Cato. We'll see how that works. I don't know. We might be spreading some people too thin. We only have one more game left this month. We play the Brooklyn Nets here on the Friday. And we'll see what we can do. Looking for win number 33 on the year. And we do get it in convincing fashion. So as of February 1st, we are at 33-15. Although we do lose that first game to the Lakers. Let's keep going here. It's tough. That Dourekas injury really hurt. Richie Davidson is out for the rest of the year. We did beat the Pelicans, but Richie Davidson is out for the rest of the year, and that hurts so much. That extra depth to take some of the pressure off of Arnold and Bohannon is now gone. And that is brutal. Dourekas is still out for 1 to 2 months, and Richie Davidson has been lost for the season. And like I said, I think based off of what we have going on here, this is it before the pressure's on to make some moves. That is an absolutely devastating injury. Absolutely devastating. Holy hell. We played Dallas and Denver. We're in the middle, or at the beginning at the very least, of a decent road trip. We do lose back-to-back games. I don't care about the All-Stars. We can check that later as far as picking teams. The success is starting to slip a little bit. We play the Sharks here. Can we get a win? Yes, we do, in somewhat convincing fashion. And I'm going to sim to the All-Star break. Now, obviously, trade deadline, we're not doing anything here. But it would be at the draft that we look to start to move people. We beat Memphis and Houston. Get a 3-game winning streak on our hands. 2 more games before the All-Star break. We beat the Hornets. And we beat Connecticut as well. Not bad. So a 5-game winning streak. We're up to 39 wins on the year as we arrive at the All-Star break. But some devastating injuries. Some devastating injuries. We will take a look at how this team is doing, though. First and foremost, we are still atop the division. It's really just us in Minnesota. We're currently 3.5 games up on them. In terms of the conference, we are down to 4th. 6.5 back of the Spurs. But still, we're looking okay. So 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, yeah, we're 11 games up on Utah. So we're absolutely on pace to be a playoff team. And if I had to guess, we by far still have the league's most potent offense. In terms of a differential of 9.5, I mean, right now the West is just a slugfest. An absolute slugfest. Stat-wise, league leaders, I am intrigued. Arnold currently tied for the league lead in points per game. Although I'm intrigued what else we have going on here. 17 rebounds a game, Darryl Foster. Jesus Christ. Do you have anybody else up there? Nobody really up there for assists. I do want to take a look, of course, at our individual stats here, and we will. So Darrell Arnold, again, 26 points a game. 2 rebounds, 7 assists. Not too bad in terms of the old player card. So again, the efficiency ratings are up. The true shooting is up. I mean, again, we already know this. If he stays healthy, he is truly a superstar. Bohannon, I mean, right now the efficiencies are up. The true shooting is actually down. A little bit concerning, but still averaging 21 points a game. Dourekas, of course, the points per game were a little bit down, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the points per game were a little bit down, but we did take the ball out of his hands a little bit more. But still, the efficiency rating, the true shooting, he was still having a really good season before he went down. Still out for 6 to 8 weeks. Dario, 13 points a game right now. It's not too bad, and numbers are improved upon from last year. Cameron Black, we know that he's not a great offensive talent. Not that you should hand a $24 million salary to a great defensive talent, but they can help. The player efficiency rating's down. Just in general, his offensive output has dropped quite a bit this year. Murray Hopkins, the numbers are up, which is about, to be expected with how much more he's seen of the ball. Jesse McDaniels has been on and off their 6th man or starter. And, I mean, you can see why. I mean, especially last year. I mean, I imagine the average playing time is significantly up, but he's having a much better season. And, of course, A.J. Marsh at 22 has improved in every... Oh, true shooting's a little bit low, but he's looking okay. And then you have, like, Davidson, Cato, Wesley, and then Sparks, who you just know isn't going to put up any points. We're in a very weird spot. I want your opinions on what to do, maybe how to run the lineup at this point in time. And whether or not you think we could kind of walk that tightrope heading into next season, I doubt it. Like I said, the pressure's on here. I think we have to win because beyond this season, again, Arnold's still here, but Bohannon needs a new contract. Dourekas needs a new contract. So I honestly think to make way for them, Dario and Cameron Black have to go, and then we'll start relying on whether that be McDaniels, who we had to pay a decent amount to keep him here. AJ Marsh will more than likely step into that role as well. This team's going to change a lot, but missing someone like Davidson, who provided that depth up top, that's a major, major loss for us. Let me know what you think. Next episode, though, we finish up the season and perhaps even get into our first ever postseason matchup. Although to take a look at the all-star teams here, just to see who we have. I mean, we have to have somebody, and we do. Terrell Arnold is in, as is Irvin Bohannon. So Arnold and Bohannon make the all-star game for the first time. Nelson Fletcher, though, the reserves on Team Giannis. He's on the Thunder. He's a 4-time all-star, and he was supposed to be ours. It's pretty upsetting. That is pretty upsetting. Guys, we are done here for now. Thank you very much for watching. As always, again, looking forward to whatever feedback and suggestions you have as I continue to still kind of learn a little bit. Obviously, the basic fundamentals of this franchise mode, they're there. But beyond that, yeah, we're still kind of learning. Appreciate you sticking with me on this one. I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a good one. Take it easy. And pray to RN Jesus that we don't have any more devastating injuries.